Good day, YouTubers. Welcome back to another tabletop recap. That's what we're going to call this one. And before we get started, I'm just going to do a quick little intro here. And the next couple clips are going to be concerning that old metal still bank. If you remember from a couple videos ago, we're going to do a couple update clips on that. And before that, get your drink ready if you're having anything to drink, because that bell's going to be ringing. I got this one here. It's the first time I'm trying it. It's a Lamb's Black Spiced Rum. And look at the label on that. I think that's Medusa. Looks like it might have some bite to it, so I'm going to crack into it. We'll see you all momentarily. Cheers.
Where are we headed to, driver?
No man's land.
Oh, okay, they're going then. We got a damn good show for you tonight. What do you say, Jane?
Yeah, we got a damn good show. Let's get her done.
All right.
Okay, viewers, so just a quick clip here I want to do as I'm cleaning up this still bank. These three panels here I soaked in the iron out solution for a couple days, and you can see how nicely they've cleaned up so far. Now, a couple other people suggested soaking it in vinegar to clean it up, so I'm going to do the roof in vinegar, and we'll compare the two. I'm pouring the vinegar in there now, and I'll leave that in there for a day or so and see how that's doing. Pretty much filled it right up to the top. Okay, so there we go. We'll do a little comparison and see how each one makes out.
3 days later.
Alright, so just a quick update on the cleaning method here, folks. This one here soaked in vinegar for approximately the same amount of time as these ones soaked in the iron out solution. And check it out. That vinegar works really well, but I'm not sure. There was a little bit of paint on here around there, like a strip. You can see that yellow. Not sure if the vinegar removed it or me scrubbing, but look at the underside of it. Wow, eh? That's just like brand new. Okay, so that vinegar does work really well. Thanks to whoever suggested that in the comments there. Sorry, I can't remember who it was. Maybe if I remember, I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, so here we are. Now, my initial plans for this, folks, were to maybe fashion some sort of top for the chimney here, like that would have originally been on it, and put a bolt down through it and a base on it and screw it together the way it's supposed to be. But instead, I just opted to put some crazy glue up on the corners here to hold it together. And if I decide to change my mind, I can always just snap that apart real easy, I'm sure. But anyways, the roof, as you had seen, had been soaked in vinegar, and it cleaned up quite well. And the front and the sides and back had soaked in that iron out solution, and they turned out quite well as also. But you tell me, what do you think? Should I paint that yellow or just leave it the way it is? I might want to try painting it. Sort of restore it to its original colors. Let me know in the comments what you think you'd do. Alright. I'm going to shut this clip off for now, and we'll get into these other finds. Okay, we're back. I was just having a couple technical difficulties here. But first up, we're going to have a look at this Caldwell's rum bottle. Look how awesome the embossing on that is. You got a big old ship here with some rum barrels. And this one come out in the last visit to the Federal Law Forbids liquor bottle dump. There's your Federal Law Forbids warning on that one. So that's a great looking bottle. Put that lid on it, sort of clean it up a little bit. Nice bottle. And then secondly, we'll take care of these more modern ones first. Secondly is this Black Tower wine bottle. And Daryl Digger informed me that originally these were made out of pottery, a black pottery. And sure enough, they were. And info online seems to be a little bit confusing, but they suggest that they were made out of pottery right up into the 1980s. I think this was from the 1970s, but I don't see, like I say, info seems to be a little bit confusing. Pretty sure this one's glass. I don't want to break it to find out, but it is black, black, black. No light shining through that puppy. Okay, so next up, well, we might as well stick to the same dump where this one come out. Of course, this one's quite modern, but I got into an old patch of glass in that modern dump, so you just never know. You got to dig them all, folks, or at least check them out and dig around a little bit. And I'll drink to that. Yeah, that stuff's got a little bit of a bite to it. Tastes good, though. So, as I was saying, at that same dump as that Black Tower wine bottle, I got this 1890s. Look at this applied lip. Case Gin. That's nice. You see that? That's what they mean by applied. See how globby that is? It was blown in a mold. You're going to find some seam marks on it. And then they applied the lip to it by hand. Sort of wrap that glass around there. That's why it's all globby. Now a tool top would have a much finer, smoother looking lip to it if it was tool top. This one is applied. That's why it looks all uneven there. So that one come out at that dump. And then also this patent med here. Local Hawker's Tolu and Wild Cherry Balsam. This was a cough syrup. Oh boys, that's hard to see. The Hawker Med Company Limited on that edge, and St. John, New Brunswick on that edge. Look at that icy blue, almost a deep icy blue. That's nice. So two awesome bottles come out of the same dump as that modern Black Tower bottle. Great stuff. All right, let's get into these other finds here. So first up, we'll show this Warnet flask, which is also a lovely aqua blue color. Liquor bottle, tool top, strap side. See the straps on the side? Very prominent straps at that. And then secondly, at that same site as this, came out this Pendleton's Panacea bottle. And look at the lovely color on that. Almost like a greenish. Look how the base, the glass for the base goes way up the side of it there. Very uneven. And that's a tool top variant. Pendleton's Panacea, Fraser Thornton and Company, Cookshire, Quebec, Canada. Now, Fraser Thornton and Company was formed in 1903 in Digby, Nova Scotia. I didn't know that. I just found that out. And within a year, it moved its head office to Cookshire, Quebec, which is where this is. So we're looking at least 1904 for this. And then what else have I got here? It says, during the peak of its activity, the company was said to be Canada's largest manufacturer and distributor of patent medicines. So there we go. So this is definitely after 1904, but it's definitely early 1900s. So it's a tool top, it's a beauty, and we're going to get into these other bottles next. Okay, so next up, these were dug by a stream at an old cellar hole site. And after I left that patch, I went over to the cellar hole and I dug up this, which is a nice green flask. And it's an applied lip. I don't want to call it a liquor flask because, I mean, really, liquor was in flasks like this, but other things were in flasks like that as well. But I guess we could call it a liquor flask just for the sake of the video. And it's nice. It's a slicker, but it's nice. And then at that same patch as that around the cellar hole, we come up with this miner's liniment. Look at that icy blue one. That's machine made. That's early 1900s too. Machine made, but it's early 1900s. Look at the color of it. Wow. Miner's liniment. the King of Painterly from Hands County, Nova Scotia. Okay, and then from that site, we went from the cellar hole down the road about half a kilometer maybe to another site in amongst a bunch of rocks, and we dug around there. And let's rock around the clock. And in that pile of rocks come out this Pendleton's Panacea Fraser Thornton and Company bottle. This one is machine made. So there we go. We got this earlier one, and then we got the machine made one. Early one, nice green color. Machine made one, not so much. Looking like 1930s. At that same site, in amongst the rocks under that big old yellow birch tree, that's where this still bank came from. Remember this puppy? At the beginning of the video? That came out of that same site. And then we've got these items right here. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. The person that suggested me using vinegar on this bank here was Kevin Petrie. So a little shout out to Kevin Petrie. Thanks, bud. That worked out really well. Now, back to these. Here's this pin that come out in that rock pile under the big old yellow birch tree. These are not diamonds, and you can see these ones on the end are quite foggy and blurry looking. But the pin's in great condition, I mean for its age. So that was a nice little find. Secondly, let's do this other one here too. This here is some sort of, I don't know what it is, but check it out. This here is on a hinge. Oh, well it was, I just broke it off. Crappy. Anyways, that fabric was wrapped around it for some reason. I don't know what that means, but yep, that was on a hinge. Oh well. There that is. Any suggestions what that might be? And then finally, folks, man, oh man, video's going way too fast. I haven't even finished a glass of drink here. All right, let's get into the last find here. This pen, that come out at the same site in amongst the rocks under the big old yellow birch tree. And let's open it up. And this is most likely from the 1920s maybe. That's what I want to say. It's a nice fountain pen. Sort of camouflage look to it. And it says, what's that say? Wherever? Yeah, wherever, I think, right there on that. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to, there we go. Wherever, right there on that. That's the company name for the manufacturer of the pen. And Cynthia Swearinger said, you know, some of those have gold tips on them. And sure enough, this one does, but it's not solid gold, folks. It's not going to focus on it. Well, maybe we can get a look at it there. Can you see that? It is gold plated. 14 karat gold plated tip on that puppy. But yeah, it's just plated, but still pretty cool. I didn't know they were gold plated or gold tipped. Did you guys know that? So thanks to Cynthia for informing me of that. Very cool. So that's it, folks. We're gonna move on. Next video should be a digging video, so tune into that one. Over and out. Leave a thumbs up, comment down below. See you all on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Woo! Well, the trees were over there. I was digging around under, so I'm just moving over this way a little bit. And there's a lot of old glass here. Check this out. Look how thick that is. Like literally from there to the bottom. Look at that. Not much on the surface though. Not much under the surface. Right under the surface are rocks. But this ink I scratched up earlier is manganese glass. I could see it just slightly there if I got the right angle on it. Right up around the top